Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mike and Dave Hit the Stage. Today, we're going to meet Dave. What's up, Dave?
Oh, how's it going? This is going to be real good. Both of us are tired.
Yeah, we've already established that both of us are not. I don't know if we didn't sleep well. I didn't sleep well,
I didn't sleep well. I never sleep well.
but we're gonna meet Dave today. So, Dave, my first question to you is the same question you asked me before, which was, how did you get into the whole music thing?
Do you want to know how I got into listening to music or how I got into playing music?
Let's start with listening.
Okay, listening. My dad likes oldies, and it bridges into hard rock, Black Sabbath, and a couple of things here and there, the Rolling Stones, and that got me interested in music. But in high school, I'm dyslexic, so I got sent to summer school, and the dude who sat in front of me turned around to me, and he looked like Dracula. He had a widow's peak. He was just the most vampiric looking person I've ever met.
Was he very pale?
Very pale. So he turns, he goes, "Hey, you listen to metal?" And I went, "I don't know." And he goes, "Hang on." And he reaches into his backpack and pulls out a stack of like 5 CDs.
Like he was prepared for this?
I think so. It wasn't the first day. Like he might have been thinking about it for a while.
Okay.
And he just hands me a stack of CDs. He goes, "Check these out." And it was Slayer Haunting the Chapel, Job for a Cowboy. I don't remember the name of the album. Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. I think he liked cowboys. Slayer, Hell Awaits, and an compilation CD called Identity 3D, which was Century Media's, like, this is what we're putting out this year.
Yeah.
And it was Iced Earth, Strapping Young Lad, Stuck Mojo, 20 different bands, like one or two songs from every band. And it was really good. But I took them home, I listened to them, and the first one I put on was Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, and I lost my mind.
Right.
I'd never heard anything like it before. Nothing felt that good at that moment. It was perfect. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Slayer Haunting the Chapel, it grabbed me, but not quite the way Pantera did.
Okay.
Hell Awaits is Hell Awaits.
I was about to say, did Slayer grow on you? Or?
Slayer definitely grew on me.
Okay.
I do have my things with Slayer. Like, you can pretty much play one note as a bassist through all Slayer songs.
Yeah.
He's not.
We used to
but
make
you
fun
could.
of that a lot when we were, yeah.
And then, Job for a Cowboy never got into. Like, I listened to
I
it
never
once.
even listened to them. I have I couldn't tell you a song if I heard one.
Yeah. But that Century Media CD, whole bunch of bands that I got into off of that.
Right.
Moonspell and Iced Earth, Moonspell, Iced Earth, Strapping Young Lad, all from that one thing.
Yeah.
And it was really, like, I ended up going and buying that CD, I think, first.
Okay.
It was the first metal CD I owned. Before that I had Nine Inch Nails and a couple other things, but they weren't that heavy, they weren't in that vein. I was given a copy of Pretty Hate Machine in elementary school.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in future episodes, but yeah. That was angsty Mike stage. I mean, whew.
Yeah, everybody goes through one of those. Angsty Dave was more Testament, Megadeth, Iced Earth. I don't really like mentioning the names. There's been a lot of controversy with Iced Earth.
Right.
Their guitarist is in trouble. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
We have a rule. We don't talk about politics or religion here. We're going to talk about them a little bit in circling around them, but I'm not going to bring them up and go into details on personal beliefs.
Right.
But
That makes sense.
he's in trouble. He's, the guitarist is in trouble. It puts a lot of color on the way I look at that band. It affects how I see them.
Right.
So it's a struggle. Same thing, Pantera. Phil has a lot of ties to certain movements that I'm not at all okay with.
Right.
And it gives me a lot of,
Pause on listening.
not only pause, but it gives me a genuine conflict within myself. Like, I've loved this for so long. Is it acceptable to still listen to this?
Yeah.
Which also we talked about when we were talking about when we talked about the Norwegian black metal stuff.
Yeah.
It's the
I
church
just
burning
can't do
stuff is one thing, but the hate and vitriol that comes from it is so negative.
Right. All right, so we got the how you got into music itself. See, I know you as a bass player, right? So is that the first instrument you picked up, or
It was literally the first thing I got. I never played guitar.
still don't?
I actually do a little bit. Most people think I'm a decent rhythm guitar player. I'm not
Okay.
great. But I learned how to play bass the way most rhythm guitarists play. Because I was usually in a 3 or 4 piece band.
Right.
So one guitar is playing leads, the other person has to cover everything else.
Right. Okay.
So in high school, guy I met randomly in a hallway shoving fight. Ended up being my best friend.
You meet people in the weirdest ways,
I
man.
really do. I bump into people in the strangest places. I meet people in weird situations. The internet did not make that better.
Right.
Because I'm old enough where I met most people in person at first. Mm-hmm. But when I met my friend Sean, we were hanging out, just talking. He's like, I play guitar, and this is a correction from the last time. He did know how to play. He had been taking lessons, but he hadn't played with the band.
Okay.
So I had never played anything. I didn't even own a bass.
Right.
He's like, if you get a bass, we could do something. So I bought a bass,
Yeah.
and I
Did you take lessons, or did you learn on your own?
I took a month worth of lessons, and I learned the C scale.
I was about to
The
say
C major only.
Yeah.
And
That seems to be, and this is not a dig at bass players, but it seems to be a way that bass players just kind of teach themselves, in my opinion. In my
I can definitely agree with that, only because I know a lot of the other bassists that I come in contact with, the few that are classically trained or took lessons are light years ahead of the rest of us.
right.
I knew a guy went to high school with. He was a jazz guy,
Okay.
and there was nobody listening to jazz. He was doing his own thing. He listened to metal, loved Motorhead, loved the heavy stuff, and then he learned to play Yako stuff,
Okay.
Yako Pastoris, and I never could touch that stuff. I
Yeah.
still can't. It's so intricate and timing.
Technical, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so technical, and it's such a it's so much feeling on top of this masterful technique. I never got it.
Yeah.
And I still don't.
Yeah. Would you ever?
I've tried.
Tried?
I've
Yeah.
definitely tried. It's also reading sheet music is very difficult for me.
Okay.
Dyslexia.
Right. Right.
I try. I can transpose my own stuff if I have to. It takes forever.
Right.
But I learned how to play with tabs like every other knucklehead who learned how to play guitar or bass.
Yeah.
And I learned them all wrong because all tabs are wrong.
Right.
And then you figure it out as you go. I eventually started learning how to play by ear and start to listen to songs and being able to kind of root out what I'm trying to hear. Took a long time though.
So what was the? I know Shadow of Demise. Who was the? Was there anybody else you played with?
Well, that wasn't the first band.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the only one I know of.
The first band was Omega Zero. Sean, our friend Pedro, rest in peace, and he played drums at first and moved to vocals. And my cousin Paul actually took over for drums.
All right.
Paul, very much a hip hop guy. Still loves rock, but he's very into hip hop. Straightforward punk drummer.
Okay.
He doesn't really see it as one way or the other, but he's very much a 4/4.
Yeah.
Double beat punk drummer, and he's good.
Uh-huh.
But we did that for a couple of years through high school. We all kind of went our separate ways for a while. I bounced around in nameless band after nameless band in college, and getting into Shadow was completely by accident. I had known Dan from Shadow. I met him through a friend who lives just a couple blocks from here. Our friend One Legged Jay. He does not appreciate being called One Legged Jay, but that's how everyone knows
It's
him.
all right. Listen. No, I can't bring it up. Never mind.
So Jay has one leg. It's not a cute nickname.
Yeah.
So I met him through our friend Luigi, drummer at one point for Shadow Demise, who I met in college. I met him, and he was in every one of my classes, and he was standing behind me on the book line, and we ended up talking. He was wearing a Black Sabbath shirt. We ended up having like a 5-hour conversation, and then that turned into a couple days later. He made the most awkward gesture I've ever had. He handed me a mixtape. Now, that mixtape, it was awkward taking it. It is the best thing I ever did.
Well, there weren't any love songs to you on it, were there?
No.
Okay,
but
good.
They might as well have been written for me. These were perfect. Now, Luigi is a drummer. He's been playing drums since he's 4. He plays guitar. He plays bass. He can record. I think he plays keys. He is a musician's musician.
Right.
He reminds me very much of Mike.
Okay. He'll correct you on that, by the way.
Oh, he'll definitely correct me on that because I know he doesn't play guitar.
Yeah.
That'll be one of his shake his fist at the clouds corrections. Get ready for that. But Luigi reminds me very much of him in the fact that he's the musician's musician. He knows everything.
Right.
He can, if he doesn't know it, he'll learn it. So he started playing. He played jazz. He plays rock. He learned how to play watching television. So he learned the Motley Crue and stuff like that. But he learned it backwards because everything we see on TV is mirrored.
Right. Yeah.
So his mirroring of everything, he plays lefty, but he's right-handed.
Yeah.
So a lefty drummer is the worst setup in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go into a music studio, you got to move the entire drum kit around to readjust.
Right.
So every time we'd go somewhere, like go to Fastlane or go to Roxy, he'd have to spend like 5 minutes reconfiguring the drum kit for his, which was unfortunate, but he played amazingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
His tryout for Shadow, they didn't have a lefty double bass pedal, and he forgot to bring his. So he played double bass parts with one pedal and a tom.
Okay. I knew. Yeah.
Very much like Mastodon, but
Yeah.
without the ability to double flutter. And he did great. But joining Shadow was Dan, who I'd known for years, and I met through our friend One Legged Jay. He's like, "Oh, I need somebody to fill in for bass. Our bassist is off doing whatever. I don't remember what it was, but they weren't happy with him anyway." So I said, "Yeah, I'll come down and Slayer covers." They were trying out a drummer, and they
Right.
needed another person to play with. So I went, and they did not take the drummer.
They took you.
We sat in the car, and they're like, would you want to join the band? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
That's fun. And we went over the songs, and I learned them over the course of a couple months. And we got another drummer, Danny. Mm-hmm. Danny, I worked with at the computer lab at college, and he played another straightforward rock guy, but really good double bass. It was a lot of fun. And that was us for a long time, with 4-piece. And then we added Ron.
Ron. Yeah.
And I think we had Luigi before we had Ron, because we had Danny had left, and we had tried out another rhythm guitarist and a drummer together, and they were crazy. Like one guy looked like he was homeless, the other guy was literally all the time yelling, like as if he was still wearing headphones.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was he, deaf or was he?
I think he was just crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
And in the end, like, we ended up not working with those guys. We had a practice room out in Rockaway, like a monthly rehearsal space that we were paying for. And we ended up getting rid of, like, not getting rid of, but we ended up leaving that space, leaving it to the other band, and going back to regular studios, going back to Roxy.
Yeah.
And going back to Roxy was the best thing. We wrote an entire album.
Well, let's go to Roxy. That was my next question for you. How did you end up at Roxy? where we kind of met.
Practicing or working?
Working.
So
Practicing, I mean, is, we all did it.
well, that's the thing. I'm a Brooklyn guy. Like, I had never been to Long Island City before.
Really?
Never. And at the time I was playing with one of those bands that never had a name.
Right.
Luigi.
Okay.
This guy Sean, his nickname was Big Head Sean.
Wow.
He's a big head. And that's bad for me. I have a giant skull. And his girlfriend and my very good friend at the time, Rachel. And Rachel was a pretty straightforward, like, upper register, semi-operatic singer.
Okay.
And she had a very good voice, but he had no control over his volume. Like, he played at max volume all the time.
So she had to scream.
You could never,
she
could never hear her. I
yeah.
could play you tracks you wouldn't be able to hear.
Right.
You'd hear, like, squeaking in the background, and not because she couldn't push, because he was
too
over
loud.
everyone.
Yeah.
He was over me, and I tend to be loud.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and it lasted for a while, and then it just didn't.
Right.
It was over. It was cool. And then first time I went to Roxy, it was just like a totally different environment. When I first started playing in bands, there was a place like 2 blocks from here, Tube Bar Studios, and it was decent. They had a professional recording studio and practice rooms, and it was like, don't touch the equipment, we'll touch the equipment for you.
That's like we used to do it. I used to go to a place called Lyric, and
I've heard of Lyric.
it was like that too. You'd walk in and you couldn't. We'll set it for you. Oh God, all right.
Now the thing is, I'm fine with that. I was fine with them setting it for me because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But then that place closed.
But then you never learn.
Yeah, you never learned. But they didn't care if you learned.
Yeah, they just wanted your money.
Then we went to Fastlane in Brooklyn.
I love Fastlane.
Other side of. Now, Fastlane is the opposite of Two Bar. It was grimy.
Right, right.
It's in a, I wouldn't even say a bad neighborhood. It's in a closed off neighborhood. And everything's closed at night. Nothing's friendly. There's nothing really like you. If you don't know where it is, you don't know where it is.
Which is weird because isn't it on?
It's on Flatbush Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's in a part of Flatbush Avenue where there's just like nothing.
Right. It's right. It's right by. It's a little north of the Bell Parkway, right? And by the.
It's like a mile away from Kings Plaza.
Right,
which
yeah.
You think would be a very big area,
No,
but
but
it's,
once that closes,
even before that, the second the sun goes down, all the restaurants and stores on Flatbush usually close for the day.
Yeah.
And it's just empty,
yeah.
which is great for parking if you drive. But we were on, knuckleheaded teenagers on buses. We had no idea where anything was. We got lost the first time going there.
Yeah. Well, I just found out today that you got your license at 28.
Well, yeah. I'm a Brooklyn guy. Most Brooklyn guys don't get their license when they're 17.
What are you trying to say?
We didn't have to.
I had to.
I had some fat guy driving a bus for me. Before that was my dad. Not well, yeah, he's a little fat guy, but driving the bus.
Yeah.
Or my dad driving in the Lincoln Town Car that people used to try to get in thinking he was car service.
Awesome.
All the time. It was hilarious. My mom used to get into other people's cars by accident, thinking it was either car service or my father.
What's terrible now is even I have the Honda Civic and people try to get in there.
Thinking you're an Uber.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Nobody ever
I'm
mistakes
getting
my car.
carjacked.
Nobody ever mistakes my car for a ride share.
Right.
Only because of the giant slice in the side.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
So how did you get the job at Roxy?
Actually, Dan had inquired about a job because he was in between. He was working HVAC, waiting on trying to get into sanitation. He thought it was a cool place, and he talked to Mike, and he's like, "Oh, should I put my information in?" And he did, and then they immediately called him for sanitation.
Oh, so he couldn't do it.
He didn't, he just couldn't. And I said, you know what? Let me put and I literally wrote my info on a index card.
Did you have a previous job, or this was like just, hey, I could work?
I started working I was a teenager when I started working.
Yeah.
Like on the books. I worked for, my first job was CVS over in the neighborhood. I was working in a photo lab.
Right.
Just developing pictures.
Oh, that's funny. Mike did the same thing.
Everybody. I think everybody had to touch a photo lab at some point.
Not me. I started at a Alley Pond Environmental Center. I started there when I was 12. I had a volunteer, and then I couldn't get a job there till I was 14. Till I got my working papers.
Okay, yeah, I'm working papers.
And then my dad still has my first paycheck. He took a photocopy of it. It was $92.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, for a 14-year-old kid, not bad.
I have other stories that I can't really tell on a podcast about how I made money as a teenager.
What? All right, back to Roxy.
Nothing gross. Mostly illegal. One of the big things when I talked to Dennis the first time, Dennis, the owner of Roxy, is he was very much a calm, relaxed, chill guy.
I love Dennis.
I
Man.
was so not used to that.
Yeah.
I was used to the drill, like somebody like grilling you for an interview. And he was just like, so what do you listen to? What do you enjoy? Do you know how this stuff works? And I was very truthful. I'm like, I know how microphones work in theory. I play bass.
Make things loud.
They make noise. He goes, do you know how to operate a board? I said, not really. He goes, Joe will show you.
Yeah.
And Joe and Mo and Mike and Justin did show me. I worked there for a few years. Just, sleep. I worked the weekends. Like, the shift nobody wants. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I did Friday from like 5 to close or 6 to close. And then
Closes like 1 or 2 in the morning, right?
1 in the morning. You're usually done by 2.
Yeah.
I'd lock up, walk to Queens Boulevard to the 7-Eleven.
That's not a fun walk either.
It wasn't bad. In the winter, it was rough. But in the summer, it was fine. It was
Yeah,
fine.
even the neighborhood never seemed like it was...
I'm covered in knives normally.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Minimum 3 knives.
Wow.
Back then. I'm actually, these days...
now, what do you...
no, actually, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Just that one.
In case everybody's
And
wondering,
that's-
he's showing me.
That is a box cutter literally for opening packages. That is all I've been carrying recently.
Okay.
Wait, that's a lie.
Wow. Wow.
It's only a slight lie because I started carrying an actual old school Victorinox.
Yeah.
Multi-tool.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Swiss Army. Don't call it a multi-tool. It's a Swiss Army knife.
No, it's terrible. I actually have, like, in the backpack that I carry in my car or wherever I go, I have a legit, like, a big knife and a legit multi-tool, pliers, the saw, the whole nine. And those I rarely use.
Well, why would you have a saw and why would you rarely use it? Why are you looking at me like that for?
So, pliers come in very handy,
Oh, no, I know that.
but never, like, at work, somebody's like, oh, do you have a pair of pliers? I'm like, why? They're like, oh, this won't tighten enough. I said, no, I got it. And I'd hand tighten it. And they were like, well, how did you do that? I'm like,
With my hands.
I have my grandmother's grip. My grandmother used to grab you and she'd leave marks.
Yeah.
Like, just like she'd grab your arm just to get your attention. And it was like she was gripping you like she was going to pull you out of a fire. Yeah, so my time in Roxy was really, really interesting because it led up to X-ray school.
Yeah. What?
That
Oh, okay. You went from that. I thought you said like
I was actually my
somebody
first.
offered you a job to go to X-ray school.
Actually, no.
at Roxy?
Actually, two guys were really like, "You should do it," because I was talking about it, and like, "No, you should do it." There was a kid, Sergio Zuniga, friends with Mike.
Okay.
They watch soccer together on occasion. He's an MRI tech, and he was saying, "Yeah, you should do it. It's a great job. Give me the thumbs up." And then from Dennis's band, Jerry.
Yeah. Okay.
Jerry's been in the field a long time. He's like, dude, it is the thing to do. It is the best thing you could do for yourself.
You know, I sang with Dennis's band for a little while.
No, I didn't
in the
know that.
studio, like for like 2 weeks. That's just like I don't remember if I was out or they were out. I don't remember. It's probably them.
Mutual disagreement.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it just wasn't me.
I've joined plenty of bands where it wasn't me. The band that I say I will talk about but not name because they don't deserve.
Yeah.
I will always talk about that band, but I will never give them the credit. Well, it's really one person because he's a narcissist, and the only way to take the power from a narcissist is to not recognize them.
Yeah.
And they drives them nuts.
So you're hoping he hears this.
I know he will.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the same person. I know they stalk me on Instagram. Because, you see people accidentally like something and then not. Yeah. I am very good at catching people at weird stuff. So I'm like, yeah, that's great. Stay out of my life. I'll stay out of yours.
Right.
But I'm also not going to recognize you.
Right.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
We're not friends. We're not going to be ever in each other's social circles. And if we are, I'm going to bow myself out. I'm too old to fight.
I hear you.
Although a good skull cracking would do him fine, but that's not my place to do.
Right.
I'm a dad. I'm a father.
What?
Well, yeah, a father is not just a dad. A dad, anybody can be a dad.
Ah, okay.
But
I
a
like
father,
that. All
a
right.
person who's going to set an example, is a very different thing.
Correct.
Like
Okay,
I can't
gotcha.
set that example for my son. We don't solve our problems with our bare hands.
Right.
Literally, my bare ass hands.
Yeah. Fucking
I just-
puffin mitts.
You think I'm bad? My friend Sean, it looks like he's holding lunch boxes. Giant hands. Giant. His rings, his pinky ring fits on my thumb. He's he's 5'10". He's a normally tallish guy, but his hands are they're like boxing gloves. They're insane.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I don't know if it's genetics. I've seen his sisters. They look somewhat like him, but it's I've never seen anyone specifically his configuration.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh, you guys look like brothers." I go, "I look like I hatched from something he shat out."
Twins.
No, okay, I'm the shit.
I'm the crap that was left over.
Yeah, no, and he is, and a father of two now. He has a 1 month old and a 3-year-old.
Okay.
And both girls, and they are the sweet. Like his family's so sweet and all together, and they're right there. And he's the same way I am. You have to set the example,
Yeah.
and that's a very important thing. Like I've always seen, because I was not always as calm as I am. I used to be quite swing first, ask questions later.
Oh yeah. See, I was
For a while.
I knew Nice Dave.
Yeah, there was a clear point in history where everything changed for me in the early 2000s where I stopped getting.
That's right about where I met you.
Yeah, I stopped flying off the handle as much.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about what I was doing and where I was going.
Yeah.
And making very conscious efforts. Mm-hmm. And that made a huge difference in my life. My life could have gone a completely different way.
Yeah.
It almost did.
Yeah.
And Roxy was a huge part of that change. I was actually working 2 jobs before I got to X-ray school. I was working like a legit on the books sweater company. I was doing 9 to 5 Monday to Friday.
Sweater company.
It was literally a company that made sweaters. They were the ugliest.
God, I was hoping
sweaters.
it was a sweatshop.
Oh, the sweatshop was in China, and they would order all the stuff that they designed to be sent to America.
Yeah.
And there was a warehouse section. I worked in. I was technically their IT guy. I was barely IT certified.
Yeah.
The guy knew nothing, but I did a lot of their photography. You take a cardboard box, fold it, flatten it out, put the sweater on it, photograph it, and then take it in Photoshop and edit the background out.
Yeah.
And that was their catalog images.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It was 8 hours a day.
Now that was just the way you did it. That's not the way everybody does it.
That's the way they did it.
Yeah.
I was trained by my boss to do it that way.
Yeah.
I would have actually put it on a mannequin or one of the several model designers that we had. They were gorgeous.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They didn't think that they'd use, the perfect bodies that they had as designers for the sweaters. The sweaters were ugly.
Yeah. Probably itchy too. I'm thinking of itchy, gross
I
sweaters.
would only know for the large sizes because when they ordered something
You would put it on?
they'd make me.
Why? Wait, why would they make you put it on and not the hot girls? What the hell is going on?
They'd order like a 2 or a 3X for a certain person. I can talk shit about her. So on QVC, there used to be this woman called Jean Bice, big lady. She used to call screaming all the time.
To you, to your company.
To us.
Yeah.
Me and my boss, Tommy, and she'd yell at Tommy that we sent the wrong size. And then
It was the biggest size you had.
we'd hold and we'd yell to the other room, Jack, Jean's shirts don't fit anymore. You want to get her something? And he'd pick up a hygiene. And he's like, wish you would practice some hygiene.
Gross.
She was awful. And she had a show called The Quacker Factory on QVC. They were the ugliest sweaters.
Yeah.
And every one of them was progressively worse. Like every time they're like, oh, we got new Quacker Factory stuff. And I'm like, here we go. Like Santa's day off.
Yeah.
And just pictures of Santa doing stuff. I had to do it. There is one that exists on their website, probably still, of Santa in a bathtub with a reindeer scrub in his back.
God, find that picture, please.
I made one of the designers put it in, and it snuck past.
Into the catalog.
Into their regular rotation of ugly
That's
sweaters.
awesome.
Now these were not like ironically ugly sweaters. These were
Terrible.
legit. And then the company got sued because they were ripping off an actual designer.
There was a designer making awful sweaters, and
Oh
you
no,
took
they
them?
started to branch out like
Oh.
like anyone would. They branched out into handbags.
Yeah.
And they started ripping off Kate
Bags.
Spade.
Yeah.
And
wait, what?
They got a C&D from Kate Spade.
Wow, that's one to. Wow.
You don't, yeah.
Right.
Punching up is one thing.
Yeah.
It was.
How about you take small steps if you're
and
going
they
to
were
steal
so
something? Holy
blatantly
shit.
copied. They were identical to what Kate Spade was selling, just garbage quality.
Yeah.
It might as well have been sold on Canal Street. It was
Yeah.
that level of knockoff. And it was just awful. I'm like, the second I got the letter from X-ray school, because back then it was letters, no emails.
Yeah.
I got the letter saying I was accepted. I was done. I was out of there. Like
Out of the sweater shop.
I was on vacation for my birthday, and they had been giving me shit about when I was coming back. And like at the time the girl I was dating, I went to see her in school up in Vermont, and her dorm had a fire, and we had to move out what we could of her stuff and get her situated in a new place really quick. And my boss was like, so, and that was like her friend from school.
Yeah,
they were like,
yeah.
my boss introduced us, and she had like no sympathy. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, you had to tell the bosses. I said, okay.
Okay.
So I called and nobody answered. And I said, listen, Tommy's disrespectful. I'm not coming back. And that was it.
And did you stay at Roxy?
I stayed at Roxy till 2006.
Uh-huh.
And then coming closer to the end, I got a job at Barnes & Noble. It was down the block from my school.
Okay.
And I worked customer service at Barnes & Noble until I graduated. And then I graduated on a Wednesday, started work on Thursday, first double on Friday for X-ray.
Wow. They threw you right to the fire, huh?
Oh yeah. I told them when I had the interview, I had the interview in April and I didn't start till August.
Yeah.
My interview was literally a tour of the department. They took me to security to get my photo taken and handed me the paperwork to get my urine test to make sure I passed a drug test.
Yeah.
Which he's like, "Are you going to pass a drug test?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "I'm more sure of that than anything you ever knew." He goes, "Why?" I said, "I've never done drugs."
Yeah.
And he didn't believe me. I guess I have that face like I've
You have the
mainlined
look.
something.
We all have the look. I know. Yeah.
The look like I've tried something
Yeah.
really weird.
Or done it yesterday.
So yeah, I did the drug test. I didn't even call to ask if I passed. I knew I passed. 'Cause
Right. Yeah, it's there.
The only drug I've ever tried is because of contact highs from hanging out with Mo and Joe. Just sitting in a room with the two of them, you're gonna get something. That's it. The biggest thing when I got into X-ray was, can you work by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I think
It's the best way at work.
I didn't know that at the time. Like, they start you training, and I realized the people I would work with were not happy I was hired, because I wasn't hired as a full-time employee. I was hired as a temp
Yeah.
to fill in space of overtime that they were working. So they saw it as me taking money away.
Oh, that is, yeah. I would
So-
hate you too.
Yeah, but they were working massive amounts of overtime, so
Oh.
I didn't feel bad.
So you weren't taking.
I wasn't taking money out of their
Right, okay.
I was taking money they planned.
I thought they hired you so that they wouldn't have to work overtime.
Well, they hired me so they could reduce the amount
Reduce
of,
the overtime. Okay.
because there were a guy I went to X-ray school. His mom worked in the hospital.
Yeah.
The hospital I ended up getting hired at, and she was very sick. She ended up passing, but before she passed, they were forcing her out. And he's like, "Oh, you can't work the regular shift. Let's get you out of there." And it ended up taking, she ended up leaving, and they couldn't fill her position because the union prevents that, just in case she comes back. So they hired a temp, me. When she didn't come back, the position became available, and another guy jumped in it.
Yeah.
So I got his job. So I got his part-time
So you
job.
got it, but you got that's,
got
that
it.
was your in.
That was my into the union, and
Right.
I did overnights for just the 3 days. I was working 3 days a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overnight. No social life. I didn't have one before, so it wasn't that big of a change. And then another guy retired, and they gave me his 2 weekday shifts.
Okay.
So I was doing this like weird flip-flopping evenings in the week, and then the overnights on the weekend.
How rough was that? Jesus.
It was pretty rough. I was off Mondays, which allowed for awesome time for band practice.
Yeah.
I'm free Monday. So Monday, like, when I finally got my license at 28, I'd rent a Zip car, and I'd pick everybody up, go to practice. We'd practice, and then I'd drop people off and go home.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd drop people off, go pick up other friends, and we'd go like to Walmart out in the middle of nowhere, or we go out somewhere. We're from Brooklyn. There was no Walmarts here.
That was fun for you.
There was something.
We
We go to the
Walmart.
Super Center in Jersey, or we go, riding around, ride up an avenue, see how far it gets out there.
Yeah.
Later, that turned into driving all the way to the end of Old Country Road.
Old Country. Where does Old Country Road end?
I don't know.
I thought you
just
said
know-
you made to the end.
Like it runs into the end of it like a dead end.
That's it. It just ends.
It's like, oh, there's the end, and just turn around and drive back.
Man, now I want to do that.
It's
Where the hell does Old Country Road end?
I don't. The end of the universe for all I care.
Yeah. Right.
There's nothing out there. Like, you drive past like the National Grid building.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird out there.
Yeah.
But it's nice at night. You hang out with your friends. You drive long drive, listen to music.
Yeah.
The precursor to this.
Yeah.
And sit, talk shit.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many weird things we did. We would just drive.
Well, that's the thing. I remember the nights hanging out with like Dan from Shadow Demise. Dan drove, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Luigi didn't. Steve, the singer from Shadow, didn't. So it was literally like a car full of idiots
Oh, yeah.
just driving somewhere.
Believe me, I know a car full of idiots, and a car full of idiots usually steal a lot of traffic cones. And when a car full of idiots has a bunch of traffic cones, you start coning off highways. What?
Creating drag strips.
No, making everybody get off at one exit.
That's mean.
On the LA.
I like it. That's mean. I like it. By the way, I wouldn't admit that too often. I think that's
Allegedly.
a crime.
Allegedly. And
I'm going to avoid incriminating myself as much as possible. So I'm going to tap dance around some subjects.
why you can't tell it. That no one's ever gonna know who did who when.
Yeah, no.
That was God knows before the internet.
I'm pretty sure Governor Christie thought the same thing. Nobody will know I closed this down. Oh, sorry, political.
Yeah, but he's a governor.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're a car full of idiots.
The driving around with the friends was
Yeah.
always fun. Walking around with my friends was a thing here. Because none of us had cars, none of us had licenses.
Yeah.
But we all lived in the area. So late at night, I'd get out of work, like a Wednesday night. I'd get out at 11:30. I'd get into the neighborhood by like midnight, 12:30.
Yeah.
Meet up with a guy on a couple blocks over. We'd walk, pick up another friend. We'd walk into Manhattan.
Yeah.
We just, or stroll around the neighborhood, go up by the park, walk around, talking about music, comics,
Yeah.
video games, just forever.
It's
Like,
funny. See, the walk for me was me and Ronnie used to hang out every weekend, and we used to go into this place called Red Rock West.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and we'd hang out there. We'd take the bus in front of his house to the train at Queens Plaza.
I know exactly what you're talking about
Right.
because I've driven past his house a million times.
Right, we'd go in, and then we'd go drink all night, and then we come home. We take the train back in, get to Queensboro Plaza, and two drunk idiots would go like this. Let's just walk back to your house.
Because that sounds safe and smart.
Yeah, on Queens Boulevard. He lives in where is it? Whatever that is, Elmhurst, I think.
Yeah. I don't even think that's Elmhurst. I'm not sure of the neighborhood.
Whatever it is,
I used to drive past it all the time to pick up Mike when we were going to band practice.
Yeah, we
when he used
walked.
to live in the old place.
We walked like idiots.
Well, idiots are idiots.
Yeah.
Just think you had the option though.
Of-
There are some
of
places
what?
we just didn't like. There were
Oh,
times
yeah.
I've walked places because I didn't have the option.
Well, the funniest thing hearing you is that we all had our cars early. Me, John.
I think Ron.
know?
I think Ron too.
I think yeah.
Because I remember Ron was like a race car driver when he was in the band.
What?
He was all over the place. Well, not all over the place bad, but he was constantly on the move.
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual race car
No,
driver.
no.
I was like, I didn't know when I knew him.
No,
do
he's
that.
fairly straightforward, dude.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in so long.
I know. I miss him. I haven't.
Me too.
The last time I saw him was.
I'll tell you the first. I hope
11
he hears
or
this because I
12.
know the first thing he does when he's going to see me is punch me right in the mouth.
Why?
We still do probably. We had a thing where Ron and I used to punch each other as hard as we could to see if we could knock each other out
Okay, that
on purpose.
that is okay. I
to,
think
to a point where we made going to Red Rock. We made one of the bouncers laugh so hard that there used to be lines for the bathrooms. Me and Ron would get right to the front because they would put a bouncer at the bathroom to let you in, and he would wave us up. Come on. There'll be a line. 10,
watch
12
two of you
guys.
fight in the bathroom?
No. To let us go. And then all the guys in the line would be like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" He'd be like, "Owner's son." I'm like, all right.
if you say so.
But we could do no wrong in that place after a while. But it got to a point where even Johnny was in on it for a little while. But we went to this place, College Green,
I've heard.
and some guy, we were doing it, and some guy like started betting or something like that. And I forget if he told me or he told Ron, I bet you can't knock him out in one punch. I bet you can, something like that. And Johnny was like right there, and I could have sworn he went like $300. You can't. I was like, I've seen it. They're not gonna, they're not gonna go down. They're gonna kill each other.
Now I'm going to say this, and John, I'm going to say that I mean it. I would not want to get hit by John.
No, he was a pain in the butt too. Yeah.
There's something about the way he stands. Like he looks
Yes.
like it. You can feel the wind up without him moving. Like I've said something to him, and I feel like he's going to punch me in the mouth.
Just talking to him.
On the record, so my friend John passed away recently. Rest in peace, John. John and I have gotten into fights, and I don't think we ever hit each other with the intention of hurting the other one. It was just like slap fighting.
Yeah.
Sean and we fought, but I don't think it's ever been like that. I wouldn't want to get hit by him on a
Yeah.
permanent basis. I think he hit me in the side once and broke a rib.
Why do you get into such physical altercations with your friends?
Like I
And
said,
should I be nervous? Because
like I said, there was a time where I was not exactly this level of calm. My friend Ray was corrections in Georgia. I would not want to fight him.
no.
John, I didn't like. We got into it, but we never got into it. Not that John.
Right.
my friend John Acasio. John, our mutual guitarist, I wouldn't want to fight him.
No.
Mike, I wouldn't want to fight just because I don't want to beat up a wizard.
But here's correct that, Mike, when you hear this, please. I've never listen. You're in a band with somebody, you get into arguments all the time, but it never with any of them ever got physical.
I threw a bass.
I never even thought of like throwing a punch at any of my bandmates.
I will send you a picture of one of my basses is missing a chip on the headstock because I threw it like a spear at somebody.
Jesus Christ!
And then I picked it up, unplugged it, and walked out.
Was it a band member or somebody like
no,
a
it was a
sound
band
man
member.
or
No,
something?
the sound guys never bothered me. It was a band member who was just being a dick, and I was being a dick back, and I took it too far. That's going to be another common thing is if I start shit, I always go too far.
Yeah.
Same thing with making fun of people. I've been told I don't know how to jab. It's all
It's always-
uppercuts and haymakers. My wife even says it.
Yeah, but you got to have guys that could take it.
Yeah.
Like when you say something to me, I never take it seriously, and it fucking makes me laugh really hard.
Because you know that nothing I ever say comes from an angry place
Yeah.
anymore. There was a time where
Yeah.
it came from an angry place. I used to make fun of my sister. I won't say what I used to say to her, but I used to rip into her to the point where her only response would be to swing at me.
Yeah.
And I'd duck or move out of the way. And my dad's like, I can't even yell at her. You kind of deserve it for that. But because obviously I can't hit her. I don't hit women. Funny quote from another band member about that one. But I don't hit women. And my dad's big thing is if you hit your sister, I will hit you as hard as you hit her.
Right.
And I don't know my own strength.
Okay.
I thought that was fair.
Yeah.
So I try not to hit my sister.
Yeah.
There may have been a stabbing once. I may have been stabbed in the stomach.
By your sister?
I'm not saying.
That's
In like December, January, somebody got locked in the backyard after I pulled a knife out of my gut. It was only a little bit. I backed up pretty quick.
just a tip.
Yeah, kind of. So many problems in my life have started with just the tip. But yeah, we ended up. We're still not very friendly.
Oh yeah.
We're cordial,
Yeah.
but I don't go out of my way. My parents do that. Oh, she's your family. I'm like, yeah, I got a lot of family. I don't really interact with on that level.
Yeah.
gonna keep
Well,
it
it's
that
like
way.
the conversation we had last week about chosen family and
Oh yeah, and my chosen family is as dysfunctional as a real family. But I mean, like in 2013, I had a fire. I was living in a basement apartment, and literally the top floor of the building caught fire, and it was raining in my apartment.
where the fuck was this?
I lived over by Kings Plaza.
Oh, okay.
So I call my friends. I start with my friend Chris because he's physically the closest one to my house. He goes, I'm coming over. He came over and we got my instruments, all of my basses and guitars into his car over to his house. The neighbor was watching the place because, they pop all the doors open. Everything's
Right.
There's no defense. I call my friend Sean. He goes, okay, get a U-Haul and meet me. Got the U-Haul, picked him up. We moved my entire apartment in a few hours.
Yeah.
I had gotten out of work at 7 a.m. to come home to my house, raining. We saved most of my stuff. We got it out of there.
Was it just you in that apartment?
Just me. I was on my own.
Okay.
It's 2013. It took a year for them to redo the whole house.
Oh, you had to stay there?
No, I actually moved back in. My parents actually one floor from where we're
okay.
sitting right now. I moved back into my old bedroom and stayed there for almost a year. And when it was time to move back, the landlord's like, "Oh, well, he was living with his mom because he got forced out of his spot. He goes, I'm going to stay with my mom. She's getting older. She's getting sick." I said, "Okay, I understand." He goes, "I can't give you the basement because I got nobody upstairs."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, why don't you take upstairs and give me," and he $1,200 a month for 2 floors,
Wow.
a back deck, parking spaces, a backyard,
Right.
3 bedrooms basically, 3 tiny rooms, but still they were bedrooms.
Whatever. Yeah. For just you?
For just
That's
just
amazing.
for whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And he said, "You help me find somebody for the basement,"
Okay.
and I did. You've met that person. She's now my wife.
Oh, get out of here.
She
That's
had
awesome.
just gotten out of a relationship. She was kind of she was planning on moving in with her parents, bouncing back there, and she wasn't really feeling that at the time. And I was like, well, Rob's place is available. Why don't you take a look?
Yeah.
And he offered, and she took it, and that was it. She moved in. And it was perfect. She had the basement. I think we split the bills, cable, electric, and all
Yeah.
that. And then it was just a good time.
Yeah.
I had huge space. I had a computer room, my computer, my instruments. There was an extra room I had basically a dresser, and that turned into my son's bedroom when he was first born.
Yeah.
Nice space.
It's pretty awesome, man.
It was great.
It's a good story. I like that one.
But it took that year waiting for it to be ready was
Right.
crazy.
Right.
Like just traveling back and forth to here from work, and I was getting good updates from Rob, my landlord. He was so cool about it. When a few years later, he was looking to sell the house, so we started looking to move. We ended up moving in with her parents, and when we moved on a Sunday, and we figured we'll do some here, some there. You know, the rent was good for the end of the month. We figured we'd keep going. 3 days after, I got sick at work. My colon ruptured. I am no longer able to lift anything.
Right.
So he was like, yeah, I still need the rent if you're going to have your stuff there. I understood that. It was rough, but we made it work.
Right.
In the end, we saw eye to eye. He ended up selling the house after we were out and we got everything out and cleaned up. And every once in a while, I call him, see how he's doing. He's a band guy. He has, like this, he has an apartment upstairs he uses for his band.
Oh, cool.
So he has because he owns the whole house now.
Yeah.
He has the first floor as his living space. Basement, I thought he was using for his band space before, but now he got rid of the upstairs tenants from him, and now he's using that as actual rehearsal space.
Cool, man.
He's got like a 7-piece band up there.
Awesome.
And he's the jazz, like the jazz guy.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to teach me how to play jazz guitar. I was like, I love you.
Stop.
It's falling not on deaf ears, but like as if I didn't know what up and down were. It was not sinking in. It was an interesting time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we covered to like 2012, 13 there. Oh, I got a lot of stories.
So I don't even know where I want to go from this.
And I actually still didn't answer your question.
What's
what
that?
other bands besides Shadow?
Oh,
Demise?
wow. Yeah. You stopped at Shadow. That's right. Was anything? Okay. Go ahead.
So Shadow, I left under bad terms. I was very unprofessional. It took me a long time to come back from that, and I actually went and individually apologized to each member.
Right.
Because I wanted to make it right. And not that they had to forgive me, but I'm glad they did.
Right. You just had to clear your conscience. That's all.
And also I felt like they deserved an apology.
Okay.
And none of us have ever worked. Well, I've never worked with them again, but they've always been really cool.
Yeah.
Dan and I are still in constant contact. I talk to Luigi all the time. Ron, I never see online.
Yeah.
Like I don't know even if he has the internet.
Yeah.
Steve, I talk to all the time, and former singer. We all keep in touch, but I had to cross that threshold to do that, and I'd rather definitely apologize for my mess ups.
Yeah.
And make it right. It felt good. It felt necessary. I did it at a barbecue, which is even better. I got invited to Dan's house for a barbecue.
Oh, that's nice. And
I had made my apology to him first because he was the guy who got me into it. It might as well be the first person.
Right.
I apologized to Luigi next, Steve, and then I pulled Ron aside. And I told him, he goes, don't even think about it. It's water under the bridge. It's a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, Ron was always a cool dude. I could never get his humor. Like, he's so funny.
Me and Ron.
But he's so sarcastic.
Oh, God.
And it's not that he's not funny. He's hilarious. But I always get caught off guard by how sarcastic he is.
Yeah, nothing. He's never serious. Yeah, he's never. Whatever he's saying about you is in jest. Yeah.
And it took me a while to get that. And it never
Some of it
caused
hurts, by the way.
Nothing ever hurt. I will say that honestly. Nothing ever hurt. But it always felt like there was
truth behind it. That's the whole thing, right?
But he wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. No. I get that.
All right, so Shadow of Demise.
Shadow, and then I played with this band, Dead Winter Rains. My friend Chris and this kid Kenny that I knew from college. and I got my friend Louie, who I worked with in another band. It was good. Power metal. I love power metal. You'll suffer. You'll learn to suffer through it. I left. The singer Kenny was trying to get things done. They were trying to get ready to record, and I was finishing up X-ray school. I was in the last finals, getting ready to take the big finals that would determine whether or not I passed, and then a licensure exam, which would determine whether or not I became a tech, or if I had to retest or even take another class. And I was stressed.
Yeah.
And these guys, he's like, you need to find out how serious you are about this. I'm like, I'm not.
Wait, the band?
Yeah.
Was there any
No.
potential? Yeah.
No.
Take it easy, bro.
He was
it
taking
easy,
himself
bro.
a little too serious.
Yeah.
They ended up, I left. They got another bassist. They ended up getting another drummer. And they recorded a 3-song demo, which this is not my title for it. This is the guitarist and the founder's title for it. $1,000 down the drain.
I think we spoke about this last week.
I think did I play you a bit of it?
Yeah.
It's
I'm trying to remember if we spoke about it on the podcast.
we did
or-
not.
Okay.
Because we didn't. This is the first. It
We
was
talk
bad.
about this so much.
It was bad.
I don't remember what we say.
It was doubled up vocals, but not harmonized, just doubled.
Right.
The drums were all over the place. The guitars weren't quite in sync with each other.
Yeah.
Which is half to blame
Now
for
I
the
do.
band
Now I do remember you playing me. Yeah.
and
yeah.
half to blame for the production.
Right.
And the guys who did the production, they didn't do right by the guys.
Right.
But these guys got what they paid for. They paid for guys to do it and not ask questions. And they got
And
it.
that's what you got.
And then it's the opposite of the Sweetfire experience.
Yeah.
Those guys sat down and listened and made comments and showed ideas and exchanged information. These guys did not. It was like you come in, you record. But I know the guys who did the recording were good. They did the Shadow of Demise recording.
Yeah.
And the Shadow came out awesome. And that wasn't only us. That was their work on it too. You know, because there were parts that like I said, I legitimately had trouble playing.
Yeah.
They were intricate, they were difficult, and I just wasn't getting it right. And I felt like I was when we were playing live or practicing, and then when we sat down with the click, I was not.
Yeah.
And it was very humbling. It was very informational, and it really changed. That also changed how I approached playing and recording. It's been it was a good first experience in a studio like that, like sitting down with a click, with a bass amp and cab in the other room.
Yeah.
I was playing one of my basses, a 5-string LTD bass, and a friend of mine, this guy Fast Eddie, used to come into Fastlane. Older guy, missing teeth. He loaned me a 60s Fender P bass that he had modified. It was active. It was loud as hell, but it was active. So the second they plugged it in, it was noisy.
Yeah.
These guys were complaining about it the whole time. I was like, all right, I'll just not use it. And then I backed the volume down. They're like, nah, use it.
Oh yeah.
It was good. It was a good bass.
Right.
It was different than everything I had known at the time. All my basses at that point were passive. You just plug them in. There's no battery, nothing. You just plug in.
Right. You just go.
The new stuff that most people have is active.
Yeah.
So it has to have, it's powered and it's boosted, and then you got to pull it back to get it not to make that kind of noise. And that was my first learning experience with that too. It took me a while. And then most of my basses have not been played in studio.
Yeah.
Because let's see, the last ones I brought to studio were, man, it's been years. Maybe 6-7 years, something like that. More older than my son by a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had quite a few basses since then. The collection has gotten a little crazy.
And you just play them in your room.
Yep.
Record anything, or you just?
I try. I just I'm very much a collaborative writer.
Yeah.
So if
also you need the rest of the band.
it feels better with the rest of the band.
Yeah.
I can write stuff, pieces, little pieces here and there, but nothing feels finished to me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have somebody else's hand in it.
Right. I hear you.
Glove puppet,
Yeah. I hear you. So what was after that? Oh well.
I jumped to a band as a fill-in, Embrace Agony, hardcore-ish band at the time, 4-piece. It was this guy Ivan playing guitar, and that was the first time I ever dealt with massive drop tuning.
Oh.
They played like drop C sharp.
Yeah.
something ridiculous. But if you tune a bass down that way, the strings flop.
The flop, yeah, it's yeah.
So I was reading online and I found this guy, Brian Beller, who tunes up. So he tuned,
So they tune down, you
would go up.
tune up. Okay.
So I'd go to the next octave
Right.
from them. Still bass, still sounds good,
Yeah.
but it worked. And
Okay.
it worked really well because I tuned the low string down a half step and then everything else up a half step. And that'd give me that full step
Yeah.
that most drop tunes go. So I'd be in the wrong tuning, but still in the right tuning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took a week to learn their songs for the
Yeah.
first show, and then we started writing together, and it was fun. And just work was busy. You know, I played a show at, I don't even know the name of the park now, the one that's out in Coney Island where the Cyclones play.
yeah.
Coney Island Cyclones,
Yeah.
National Grid. It was National Grid back then.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a bar in front of it, in the face of it, and played a show with these guys there.
How cool was that?
It was great. It was a great venue. Even funnier is I was wearing a Mayor This shirt with an arrow pointing down, and nobody got it. I'm the only one laughing at myself. I'm wearing a white shirt at a metal show with an arrow pointing down that says Mayor This. I'm an idiot. But I played the show. I immediately had to pack up,
Yeah.
put my scrub top on,
And go to work.
And my girlfriend at the time drove me to work, and I did a full shift.
Jesus.
I literally was 5 minutes late.
That's not bad.
Yeah, considering I just got off, I smelled like ham. It was awful. I used to love going to work after barbecues and stuff. Like I'd go to like hang out with Dan and those guys, and I'd come to work smelling like barbecue, and people would just be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Leave me alone, leave me alone."
Just had a bunch of ribs, man.
Oh, the burgers, so many burgers. Did Embrace Agony. That was 2008, and then the band I give no credit to. I did that for almost a year, a little more than a year. I got kicked out of that band for not doing cocaine.
Awesome.
I feel good about that. And like I said, I don't like. I couldn't hang. Was
that
the
what?
reason.
Yeah, that was
It's
the
one
reason.
of the reasons. And the guitarist was talking shit about me to the drummer. The drummer was believing it. And they kicked me out. And I ended the friendship with that drummer ended
Because of that.
Yeah, and to the point where I was living here. They came to drop off my gear, and they were trying out other bassists on my gear before they kicked me out.
Ew.
Which is shitty.
Yeah.
So I noticed, and my friend Sean was with me. He was hanging out on the stoop with me. He goes, "You want me to take him out?" I went, "No. Sean, like I said, Sean is loyal as a friend to a level that I can never describe. Sean calls me, I need a favor. I don't ask what it is.
Yeah. You just go.
When his first daughter was being born, everything kind of aligned against him. I forget something. His mother-in-law couldn't do something. His parents are gone. His sisters weren't around. He needed help. So I called my wife and his wife, and we're all very close friends. My wife went and was there for when his daughter was born.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was at work, and then I had to take care of Devin. But Jenny went and stayed there at the hospital with him all night, so he could handle stuff at home and
That's awesome.
run around. That kind of friendship you don't get. It doesn't come often.
It you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like we're very much the same, because people are shocked when they call me for something and I'm like, I'm out the door, and they're like, "Did your car just start?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on my way." And they're like, "Oh my
yeah."
I'm like, what you called me for help. I'm on my way. I'm dropping everything and I'm doing this for you." And a lot of people don't get that.
I had a friend call me at like midnight one night. I had a license, but I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
Couldn't rent a car yet. I didn't have, you need a minimum of 2 years of license to rent a car.
Yeah.
So he calls me, goes, "One of our friends needs a favor." I said, "Who?" He goes, he gave me the name. I'm not gonna call a spot out, but he needs to move now. I said,
Like, get out of his house. Like,
he needs to get out. Him and his girl were breaking up actively.
Yeah,
and
he's gotta go.
He need to go. So I said, "Okay." I call my sister. I said, listen, I need a huge favor. She asked what. I tell her. And she goes, are you moving furniture? I said, no, it's just clothes and maybe a computer or two. She goes, yeah, fine, take my car. So I took her car. I drive to Bay Ridge, pick these two guys up and a bunch of stuff, drive to this neighborhood, drop it off. Drive him back, 4 trips. Mm-hmm. He goes, what can I give you? I'm like, nothing. I don't want anything for that. This is what happens when somebody's in trouble. Meanwhile, these are the same guys that if I'm in trouble, come running.
Yeah.
You know, if my friend Chris, we call him Uncle Mudge because he's a curmudgeon. Mm-hmm. He's cranky all the time, complains about everything. Great guy. Mm-hmm. He is one of the, like when he found out I was going to be a dad, he's like, "What are we doing? Do we have to paint? Do we have to tear down walls?" I'm like, "Relax.
Yeah,
we're buying a crib. It's going to be fine."
I need you to hold some screws for me, please.
Oh, he is not the most. He's working like he works on his own guitars.
I just wouldn't ask you to hold a soda for me. That's all.
Yeah, I do tend to spill soda, almost on electronics and almost ruining this whole thing. I knew I wasn't going to live that down. I knew I figured I'd make it. Oh, exactly 1 hour.
An hour in.
1 hour. Perfect. So yeah, we go all out for each other. Mike, when I was sick, I couldn't lift or move anything, and we had a TV we had to put on the wall and move stuff around in rooms. And I picked up Mike and my friend Bill who was living in Queens at the time, but now is in Michigan.
Yeah.
He's out in Michigan. Picked them up. They hung a TV for me. They moved stuff around, stuff I physically couldn't lift. I couldn't even pick up my son at that point.
Yeah.
10 pounds was the absolute maximum I could carry.
Wow.
They ripped my stomach to shreds. We got to go through medical horrors one day.
I got one for you.
I know. I love that story. So when I couldn't, they could, and he tried to refuse to take money.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're taking money. It's money or a beating. It's simple. And we busted our ass and got it done. And the last band I worked with was Mike, John, Leo. And I don't care about anybody he brought in or I brought in after or around that. Those 4 guys.
Yeah.
It was the best writing and playing experience I have ever had.
Uh-huh.
Like, writing with Shadow was fun.
Yeah.
Writing with Mike and John and Leo it was a flow. And if somebody didn't like it, they'd look at you and go, and then you try something else.
Right.
And there was
Nobody got mad.
Nobody got mad. Nobody got hurt.
Right.
If you couldn't do it, another guy would have no problem slowing it down so you could learn it and then speeding it back up.
Now, see, that's the thing is that those are basically the guys I started with.
Yeah.
And that's the way a band was always to me. Was always if somebody couldn't get it, you'd stop. And the guy would go over and, like you said, slow it down, and then until they get it.
I had to go through all the toxic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was with so many bands where guys didn't know how to communicate. It was all one guy's idea.
Yeah.
And not Shadow. Shadow was very much collaboration. And the guys who were straight up into death metal were really into the ideas that Luigi had.
Right.
Really into the ideas that I had. Being silly. The singer wrote all the lyrics on his own, but he'd take advice. He'd take it into consideration. His stuff was basically written about horror.
Okay.
Horror themes at all times. And I loved it. I love that idea. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we were able to communicate well was good, but there was an idea that this is the road we're going down. No matter what, this is the style. UFK didn't have that, and these guys didn't have that.
Yeah.
They were just open to whatever.
Yeah.
If it was silly, it was silly. If it was 80s, it was 80s.
Well, UFK started, I don't want to say we started as a joke band, but we had some songs that were like, what?
Do you want to explain what UFK stands for?
Sure, if you want to know. It's
I know what it is.
Unlucky Fried Kittens.
Yeah.
We came up with that at Roxy.
Of course you did.
When we finally got shit together and we actually decided to do the band, because I'm going to tell you what Mike said, and he's going to, this one, Mike, you don't have to correct because I remember this one. I ran into Mike at Castle Heights and we were looking for a drummer. We needed a drummer. I believe it was me and Johnny. And our friend Joe came over to us and said, this guy over there, he's a drummer. Why don't you see if you can get it? So went over to Mike and I said, how would you like to join a band that, how do we put it? Sounds like Pantera with corn shoved up its ass. And he said yes. And he came to the studio and he stuck around.
Mike, always fun to play with.
Yeah.
He was always a blast. I never got like he says he's retired. I don't know if I believe him.
Don't put him on the spot.
I'm gonna. Even if he decides he's done, he is hands down the best drummer I've ever worked with.
Yes. Same.
Luigi is right there with him. My friend Lou, right there with him. But Mike is the guy. Like, he's the bar.
Yeah.
Everyone should be reaching, trying to get to him.
Yeah.
He may not feel that way about himself, but we feel that way about him.
Correct. Because he was the first. Remember when we were trying to do something, still trying to do something, but he was the one. He was the guy we wanted. So
It's never a question.
then he broke our hearts. Thanks, Mike.
The retiree.
Yeah.
Yeah, bastard. Yeah, no, he's phenomenal. And John, there was a point where John wasn't playing, or I don't know if he was not planning on sticking around early on. And Mike was like, well, we should get another guitarist. I said, I don't want to replace John. He goes,
Yeah.
no. In addition to John. I said, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't get rid of John.
Yeah.
Don't. He goes, no, that wasn't even the option. I'm like, thank God.
Well, you told me that he was one of the best rhythm guitarists you ever played with.
He is, for hard rock, heavy metal, he is the best rhythm guitar player I've ever played with. Dan from Shadow is the fastest rhythm guitar player I've ever played with, and can play like trem picking and
Right.
death metal, black metal. He is the best at that. But there's something about the way John plays that I always like. You know that rhythm that's in you, like you can feel that
Yes.
rhythm when you play stuff.
Yes. One topic I want to do is what the inside of my head sounds like.
Yes, and his rhythm and mine are similar
Yeah.
enough where we work together. And a Mike correction, shaking his fist at the clouds. There are no odd time signatures in UFK music, which is fucked up when you think about it. Because I was playing in 5, and everyone else is playing in 4, and somehow it worked. That is not good. That means I can't count, which I know I can't. I learned from a Mike Portnoy video, not a Mike Portnoy DVD, a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Another thing that Luigi handed me one day. Luigi was, as far as learning more about music, Luigi was the guy who'd hand you new things.
Yeah.
He literally one day handed me a Mike Portnoy Progressive Drum Concepts VHS tape.
Yeah.
I took it home. I sat in my living room and annoyed the rest of my family watching a video of a guy counting time signatures. And that's how I learned how to count music.
Isn't it fun? That's what Mike used to
I had already been playing 5 years.
Mike, before shows, or if I went to hang out with him, all we would watch is like Neil Peart videos, and I was like, it was great. I loved it.
Well, I love the Portnoy videos.
Yeah.
And I figured, oh, this is great. Other members of Dream Theater have instructional videos.
Yeah.
And I'm a bassist. So I bought Progressive Bass Concepts by John Mayung.
No good.
I fell asleep every time I watch this.
Yeah.
It's like watching paint dry. He has no personality.
Yeah.
The music, if he was playing music, it would be interesting. He's not playing music. He's playing scales. He's playing modal scales one by one. It came with a book the size of a VCR instruction booklet.
You're boring me just telling me about it.
It was painful. I still have it on like a video file on my computer.
Why?
In case I need to fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
And then I have the opposite of that. I have one of Flea's instructional videos. It was Flea, and he was being interviewed by River Phoenix.
Okay.
There was not a sober person in sight.
Yeah.
These two are high as a kite.
Was it fun?
No, it's painful to watch. It's too, he's trying to explain why he hits the bass the way he does.
Yeah.
But he's high as shit.
Yeah.
River Phoenix doesn't understand, and he's just staring at him. I'm like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
I had to keep it though, because it's terrible. I can't. Like I said, I told you the story. I can't understand slap bass.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't process in my brain.
Yeah.
My wife goes, I don't understand tapping. She doesn't understand finger tapping.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of get that only because I can do a little bit of it, but slapping, nothing.
Does nothing for you, or you?
It does something for me.
Right.
But I can't do it.
Oh, okay. I got
Which
you.
is, it feels like that glowing red spot in any video game. Like I'm supposed to hit that, but I don't know how.
Suck at it.
I'm terrible at it. I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Not awesome.
Yeah. And then that was I have not played with a band. Shit. 8 years, 7, 8 years since we stopped playing.
Mine is longer.
I know. Same guys.
No,
Oh, that's right. You were with the Rusty Hook.
I was with that band, and then I was also in a punk band, the Scullies. I didn't tell you about the Scullies. We didn't bring that up last week.
We did not bring it up.
Yeah, I got bored after UFK and Rusty Hook disbanded. So one day I went on Craigslist.
Where all good things are found.
Yeah, and
just what you need.
And I looked up. No, I didn't advertise. I looked up punk bands looking for a singer, and I got a
M for M.
yeah. So no, this band was looking for a singer called the Scullies. So I went down the fast lane.
I think I remember the Scullies.
And I went in and I tried out, and they had sent me I think 3 or 4 songs, and I had to learn them. And I went in, and within the first break, they came up to me and they were like, "If you want, you can join." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "I only did like 2 of the songs." And they were like, "You have to see the guys that were coming in trying out. Like guys were coming in like straight drunk, or trying to run the band before they were even in."
I told you that story. Get
Yeah.
him out of here before I get him out of here. That was that situation.
So
I'm kind of glad I've never been the guy in charge of a band.
yeah, I was even as the lead singer, I was never the guy in charge of the band. I'm just not good at keeping things together.
My friend Lou is, when every band he's in, he's the guy, not the guy in charge,
Yeah.
but he's the guy everybody talks to.
Yeah.
He's he's charismatic. He's the center of attention when he's not trying to be.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him. Everybody likes him. His last band, Korozik, the last band he was working with, they went on tour with Nita Strauss. He
Okay.
became very close with their drummer, to the point where they randomly text each other. Not like, "Hey, you got shows coming up." He goes, "Hey, I'm coming through Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you." Or, "Hey, how you doing? How's the family?" That kind of stuff you don't normally see from bigger bands. And everybody who's ever met him,
He's just that dude.
he's just that dude.
Yeah.
And he's that drummer that everybody's like, "Oh, he's amazing."
Yeah.
And like, if you can think of a drummer you'd want to get for a gig, he's the guy.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say he's on hiatus, but he's focusing on his civilian life. Best way to put it. And if he picks up the kit, I have his kit.
Yeah.
It's in my storage.
Ha! You got him hostage.
Nah.
Oh.
And if he ever says, "I need my kit," I'm gonna run it out to him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the best drive to Pennsylvania ever. Because 1, Amish food. 2, why do you look confused?
I never had Amish food.
Yeah, you have. It's just good food.
What is it? Fucking sticks?
No, Amish.
Butter?
No, country food. The standard buffet stuff.
Oh,
but,
all right.
But made
Yeah.
higher
Fresh
quality.
and yeah.
Oh, the higher quality is amazing.
Yeah.
We have a tradition in my family. My ex started it. She took me to Amish country.
Right.
And we'd stay at a hotel across the street from a buffet, eat like animals, whatever else. But we'd have a good time.
Yeah.
And then when we broke up, I'm like, why am I not going to keep doing this with people that I
Right.
like hanging out with? So I took my friend Chris, and we went and we'd go to the Amish buffet, and we'd go to Waffle House, and we'd go to, what is the name of the place? Texas Roadhouse for steaks and shopping. The outlets are out there.
Right.
And then it came down to like when Jenny and I were together, my wife Jenny, when we started dating, on and off, and took her out to Pennsylvania, and I took my friend Sean and his wife out there. The food is amazing. It's such a nice place. Now we take our son there,
That's cool.
and
Yeah.
he's like, "Are we going to Pennsylvania?"
Oh, my kids, we have friends that sit on top of a mountain. They have 26 acres.
You
and-
showed me pictures, and we're staying at a motel across from the
Yeah.
the diner, the buffet.
Yeah.
We simple living.
Yeah. We take a tent. We when he has 4th of July parties, we go there on the 4th of July. We bring our tent up. We drive out into the middle of the field, put our
Pitch a
tent
tent.
up. Yeah, I was not going to say that. I was God damn it. I put our tent up and
Yeah, pitch a tent.
and we stay out there a couple nights.
That's awesome.
And then eventually we go back in the house when because he invites quite a few people, and a lot of people stay. So his house is not big enough, but the field is
I say there's a
huge.
field. You're comfortable. You're comfortable camping. Why not?
I one time walked out. The first night we stayed there, I went to sleep. It was clear, stars and everything like that. The next night, the next time I had to take a leak, I look out the tent door. Tent door, is that it? And all I see is gray.
Fog.
It had gotten fog. My brain could not comprehend what the fuck I was looking at.
I have experienced fog in the weirdest places. There was one night driving home. While I was out sick, I was out of work for 6 months. So on the weekends, sometimes I would drop my son here with my parents. They'd hang out with him, and I'd go home and do whatever I had to do around the house, or just sometimes even just sit and do nothing. Just, to kind of calm myself and kind of keep myself from, because I really couldn't do a lot of picking up and moving around. So I was trying to keep it as calm as possible. And one day I came to pick him up. I get him in the car, start driving, and we're getting around Brooklyn, and it hit fog. I couldn't see through it.
On the belt?
I was not only on the belt, I got off the belt
That
and
is
started taking
terrifying.
the streets. I was still living on the other side of Brooklyn. I was on
Yeah.
Flatbush. No, was I? Was that? No, we were living out all the way out in Long Island. And I had to drive home through fog on the streets.
Ugh.
And to the point where I couldn't see the lights.
Yeah.
And I was using the GPS to figure out where I was.
Wow.
And guessing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guessing. It's not fun. I've done it on foot before. I've ended up on foot in Central Park at night.
Yeah.
Which is illegal and dangerous.
Yeah, I would not want to be in
Yeah.
Central Park.
I found out it was illegal the hard way. Cops like, what are you doing in here? I'm like, I got lost. Can you show me where the edge of the park is so I can leave?
I
did.
want to get out.
I was like, I literally was
Central
trying to
Park is crazy because when you get into the middle of that place, you don't hear anything.
Yep.
It is the craziest thing. The city does not exist when you get in the middle of that park.
And it's not that big. When you
No,
think about how
no.
big some national parks are and some, even like Jamaica Bay.
It's not even a mile wide, is it?
No.
Right?
No. It runs from like 5th Avenue to 7th or 8th.
Yeah. Well, it's Central Park West, but I guess, yeah. I don't know what that's
forget what
considered.
avenue. It's like
But it all kind of funnels in at the bottom,
like
so it's
fourth,
weird.
yeah.
It's hard to tell. But yeah, it's nuts.
just Manhattan by itself is what, 2.5 miles long? No. 2.5
Wide.
miles wide.
Yeah. I think it's like
20,
is it? Yeah, it's
20 something miles long.
Yeah.
We'll get corrections
Whatever.
for this later.
Yeah, everybody yell
But
at us.
it is 2 miles wide.
Yeah.
Even that,
Yeah.
like 2 miles for some people is, more than they ever walk. I've walked home from Hunter College.
Yeah.
68th and Lex to
here?
To here.
Wow.
Actually, first day of college. I was in a funk.
Yeah. Walking's good.
Yeah, that's what I needed. Just what I needed. A big, long fucking walk.
Yeah.
One every day. That's what I need. One every day. Yeah.
So, I guess that's it, huh?
I don't know. Do you feel like you know anything new about me?
I've learned a lot about you. Let's tell them a little bit about ourselves now, about what we plan on doing.
Oh, this is going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this now for a while, where we get to actually talk about music.
Right.
And we get to talk about topics in music that are either everyone talks about them, but nobody ever really tells you how they feel.
Right. It's not going to be. We're trying not to make it boring. We're gonna tell personal stories. We're going to.
I think every song's going to have a story behind it.
Yeah, and it's. We hope to have a lot of fun with it. We hope everybody likes hearing it.
Yeah, and you're going to get to know more about us. You're going to get
Yeah.
to know our families.
Yeah,
Because my family's linked into every part of my life, so music included. Mm-hmm. Including my son just walking past my bases.
And the funny thing is that me and Dave are going to learn about each other because even though we've known each other probably 20 years, we haven't truly hung out until recently.
Yep.
And we decided to do this, and we'll bring you along for the ride.
Yeah. Now we're going to go get lunch.
Yeah.
because Fat Boy's hungry. I don't know how you feel.
I can eat. And of course, I got to pee, so.
Maybe it's good I spilled some of that root beer. Didn't have to worry about anything breaking.
So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Have a good one. Take care of each other and take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.